Hello everyone, welcome back. We'll continue in part 3, deploying Azure application, Azure blockchain application. So if you can see here, in part 1 we have set up a Ethereum account. In going for the part 2 we have registered a AD account, and in part 3 what we are going to do is we are going to deploy a blockchain applications, and after deploying the AD we have deployed the Azure Workbench, and then we are going to deploy a blockchain application. So in a blockchain application I'm going to take an example for from Azure blockchain samples. So this is asset transfer app. So if you want to try Azure samples provided by blockchain samples, so what you can do, you can just type Azure Workbench samples, and on GitHub you can see here you need to go to application and smart contracts, and there are a couple of samples given here for like hello blockchain, simple marketplace, basic province, digital locker, refrigerator transportation, asset transfer, bazaar listing system, and couple of them. So what I'm going to try do today, I'm going to try for the asset transfer. There are a couple of roles like a seller, buyer, inspector, appraiser, and so all roles have specific means roles and responsibilities. So if you can see, seller, a person who owns the asset and want to sell the asset. Buyer can buy the asset. Inspector, a person who is chosen to buy, chosen by a buyer, and he will be considered the asset being buying. So what he will do, he will do the inspection for that. And appraiser, who will be chosen by the buyer, and he will also do the inspection. So there are a couple of states given, like for active states and offer placed, pending inspection, inspected. So these are like inspected will be done by the inspector, appraiser, so it will be appraised state. So all the roles have a particular state. So in demo what we are going to do is we have a seller, which is the admin of the account, which is my ID. So I have already registered the users. So what you need to do before doing anything, you need to register the users first. So what you need to do, you need to come to the Azure Active Directory account, and Active Directory you need to register the users first. So this is the default user, which was my initial account, Muhammad Asif, and after that you can just go into the new users, and you can provide identity like suppose demo 7, and it will show you this account is available or not, and then you can just provide some basic details, and you can create the users. So for me, I have already created a user, so I'm not going to create again. So like that you can register the user. So I have a demo 1, demo 2, demo 3, like that, demo 6. So what I'm going to do is demo 1 I will assign as a buyer, and demo 3 I will assign as an inspector, demo 2 I will assign as an appraiser, and so on. Yeah. So how we are going to do, so we are going to do is we are going to create a simple blockchain prototype, and we want to test end-to-end functionality with the help of the users, the whole workflow. So what I'm going to do, so you can see here it's quite simple. I'm just going to come as a new. So it will ask you to upload the JSON file. So JSON file will be basically your once you build your application, so you will have a JSON file created. So in asset transfer, so what you can do, you can just clone the application, and for trying purpose, so you can see here on Ethereum folder there is a JSON asset transfer JSON file, and there is a solution file as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to upload the JSON file. So it will ask the password, so I'm going to provide the password, YouTube session June demo asset transfer, and I am going to choose the JSON file. So after uploading the JSON, it will check for the JSON file, And after uploading the JSON file, it will ask you the contract solution file, and these two files will be generated once you build your application. So you need to upload the files. After uploading the files, it will ask you to deploy the app. So once you click the deploy, the app will be deploying. So you can see here asset transfer version 1.1 is deployed. So suppose if you are you're creating the prototype and you want to test all your development. So what you can do, you can just you don't need to create the whole UI and everything. What you can do, you can test your smart contract by just deploying into Azure Workbench, and it's a very helpful to see all the functionality, and we can perform all the functions without creating the whole blockchain applications. For the prototype purpose, it's quite useful. And it's also create the version 1. So suppose when you are applying the same contract and another time, so you have to, it will be like version 1.1 or version 2.0. Now I have already deployed my asset transfer app. Now what I need to do, I need to add the member. So remember the member, I have a couple of roles here. So appraiser, buyer, inspector, owner. So if you can see, I have 4 roles: seller, buyer, inspector, and appraiser. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to assign seller as a Asif. So let me go to seller, so Asif, and this is myself. So I'm not going to, because, so this is owner. Okay, and next is demo 1, which is a buyer. So let me choose demo 1, and this is a buyer. So I'm going to add another role, and third I'm going to choose inspector demo 3. And now I am going to choose demo 2 as an appraiser. So I have already all the roles created, I hope so. Yes. Okay, now let's start uh, adding the transaction. So you can see it's quite simple. You just need to upload your smart contract, and then you need to provide whatever the roles you have configured in your smart contracts, and you can test your application. So if you can see, I am the owner for this app. So I have option for let me add my, so I have access to create the asset. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create suppose I want to sell some oranges, and price is $150, and I have just created. So if you can see here, the contract is being created. It will take some time because it will check all the transactions if there is any, and you can see here the state is active, created by whom, modifications, what is the asking price, and there is no inspector and others. So you can see here the activity, who have created the transactions, and the transaction details. You can see this is the contract address. Now what we need to do is because we have already added a couple of roles here, so what we need to do, we need to test those roles. So this is the first state we have done. The active, that indicates that offer is placed, and now there is for the buyer. So who is the buyer? Buyer is demo 1. So what I need to do, I need to log out and log in as a demo 1 account. So let me just copy the demo one user ID. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide demo one. Oh shit, I think I forgot my password. Let me check if I remember still. Oops. Okay, I think I forgot my password. Just give me a second. I will come and reset the password here. Let me go and reset my password. So what I can do, oh, so this is my temporary password. So what I can do, I can just come here and log in class to change my password, and let me it's so many times. So if you can see here, I am logged in as a demo one, which is nothing but a buyer account. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, you can see here, I don't have any access for creating the asset. So what I can do, I can just only take action, and so in take action, what I am going to do, I am going to make an offer. So I have seen all the price, and when it is, so let me make an offer. I can choose the inspector who is going to inspect. I can choose the appraiser, and I have given the price as a $120. So let's go and okay, so this is demo one have make offer. So if you can see here and come, so now the offer price is updated here, and who is the inspector and who is the appraiser, so we can see here. And now let me go and just reset my other profiles as well. I hope because, so let me go. So I will log out as a buyer. What I need to do, I need to log in as a inspector or appraiser. So let me log in as an inspector. So what I'm going to do is, so I can see here offer is placed, and this is the inspector account. So who have made, but so inspector account only will have a read access, so he will just inspect, and he can see all the details of that. What is the block number, what is the block hash, from which address to which address it is, so who have created the contract, so all he can just verify. This is the only read access. So what I need to do, I need to log in as a now uh, sorry, this is the appraiser. Now the inspector account. Inspector account is demo 3. So what I'm going to do is let me reset the profile for demo 3. So so if you can see here, so this is also inspector account, and this they have same read access, so they can also verify. Okay. Now we need to log in as a demo 1. So they have couple of options, like you can modify the offer, you can rescind the offer. So the buyer have couple of options here. Okay, so all these transactions, if you can see here, means like whoever is buying, how they are verifying the transactions, and how they are making, means how the appraiser is verifying the transactions. So these all we can see. Now the things comes is how we can see all this transactions, where the exactly the data is saving, how we can see. So this is available in the resources, as I showed you earlier. You can just go in the resources group and demo workbench, which I have already all the resources here. In the resources, I have a SQL Server database, so all the data will be stored here. So what we can do is but before seeing this data, what we need to do, we need to configure the firewall. So I will just go in SQL Server. So the SQL Server is, this is a SQL Server, and in SQL Server we have an option for firewall. So in firewall you can just go and add the client IP. Add client IP, it will be save your public IPs. Okay, and then you need to make sure that this is yes, allow Azure services and resources to access the server. So what it will do is basically it will allow all the Azure services to access to your database. Suppose you have some logic app or power apps, and you want to perform some transactions on blockchain. So what you can is and save the data into SQL Server database. So if it is yes, then only that Azure logic app or any app will be able to interact with your database. So now I'm going to save as a yes. After saving, what I need to do is it is successfully updated. So I need to go into the SQL Server database, and this is my SQL Server. So you can choose the SQL Server name, and you can also connect to your local SQL Server database. But as of now, I'm not going to connect my local SQL Server database. What I am going to do is I have a couple of options here. If you can see in the left hand side, I have a query editor. I have also option for Power BI, Power Apps, and so couple of options here. So what I'm going to do is in upcoming sessions I'm going to explain how the Power BI and Power Apps works, but today I'm going to just show you how the query editor you can see. So this is the login username, and password will be which you have saved in while creating the Azure Workbench. As I told in the first step, if you can see in my initial steps of creating Azure Workbench, we have filled the database and blockchain password here and confirm password. So this password will be required here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enter password, and make sure before entering the password you have already enabled the firewall. So okay, this is I have, you can see all the tables for blockchain app we have. So you can query how many users we have. So you can see I have a safe and demo 1, demo 2, demo 3 for this asset transfer app, and you can see all the transactions here. I have made two performs two transactions, one for selling and one for buying, making offer. So you can see all the transactions here. Okay, how many contracts? There is a one contract only. Okay, and another option we have is this is, so you can perform query and you can see all the details of the transactions from here. Okay, the second thing is like Power BI reporting. So you can create a report by choosing those transaction details and can display in your Power BI. In upcoming sessions, we will explain how we can create a Power BI report and can see those transactions in a report, Power BI report. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you have subscribed our YouTube channel, and we will continue in part 4 to create a Power BI report from a blockchain app. Thank you. Thanks for watching.